You mentioned that the Republican Men's is, and I wrote this down to make sure I have it right. You said, we have all this intellectual capital. I don't understand why we would put people like a 90-year-old woman on that doesn't have much business experience when we have all this intellectual capital on this committee. We've got to use the best that we have available. Do we not want to put smart people in these positions? And my assumption is, were you talking about Elisabeth Ruffner?
Well, I'm not saying Elisabeth isn't a smart person. Okay, she has a lot to offer, but sometimes in life, you know, we all reach a point where it's time for us to step aside, you know, and allow new people, you know, to come into the mix, you know, with new ideas. And, you know, that's more what, you know, what I'm referring to. I've been in the position many times, you know, where someone has said, I think it's time for you to move over, you know, and that's a hard thing to, you know, when you've invested, you know, so much love and care and heart into something, it's really difficult to let go, you know, so I get that, I understand that, you know, but there comes a time when all of us, you know, need to step aside a bit and turn over the reins.
So, but what about the other side that might say, we have a very rich history here in Prescott, and we want to make sure that as we look towards the future, that our history isn't lost?
Oh, you bet. You bet. Absolutely. In fact, I had that question on Facebook today from, I don't know who he was, someone that became my friend on Facebook, and he wanted to make sure that I did not forget our rich cowboy heritage, and you know, I let him know in no uncertain terms that I like cowboys. And not just because I like cowboys, but the heritage. You know, the heritage behind it. Yes, that's key in our community. Absolutely. You know, key. Charlotte Hall, the rodeo, the Tiffany Museum, the Smoke Eye Museum, all that is key, you know, in our heritage.
So how much do you think the city should be actually donating as far as cash goes to some of these organizations like Charlotte Hall and the Fippen and the arts, and you know, and how do you balance that with the economy that we're in and basic services, as Jim Lamerson would say?
That's a tough question. That's a tough question. I may not have a popular answer for that one. I don't know the exact number, but I see that that for a couple of years we've been hugely investing in Charlotte Hall in order to, you know, after big cuts came down from the state, and that I'm sure it's a huge part of what's kept it afloat. You know, I don't even necessarily know if the public is aware of how much of an investment, you know, the city has put, you know, into Charlotte Hall. You know, so it is happening there. You know, the arts have always been underfunded, you know, in Prescott, you know, in my opinion, hugely underfunded, and there has not really been support in the way of any type of office space, used computer, file cabinet, you know, anything. You know, when I was president, boxes of files were at the foot of my bed, in Elisabeth Ruffner's trunk, in her office, in our treasurer's office at work and at home, you know, and just all over the place. So when we would have a volunteer come in and offer to do some grant writing for us to bring more funding in, this volunteer would have to work with us, you know, and, you know, it makes it very difficult, you know, for an organization to go forward, you know, and more so than, you know, even more important in my mind than handing over, you know, or supporting the arts with more grant funding is supporting the arts with support services, office space, you know, some staff support, you know, something. Most cities do this, you know, most cities do this. And then when the economy comes back, then we can start increasing the funding, you know, that's available for grant funding. But there's other ways that the arts can be supported at this time that can help the organization grow on its own, you know, where they're not totally reliant on government, you know, funding. if they have the support, then they can go out and get seek private funding, and there is a lot of that available, as we know, we see it all the time, where a windfall will come to an organization via a private, entity, but the Arts Council in particular really doesn't have the resources, for that, to take the lead, like an Arts Council should.
And when you say the Arts Council, do you mean Prescott Area Humanities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Typically an Arts Council does take the lead in the city, for the arts in the community. And, I do believe one of the huge reasons that particular organization has floundered, as a lot of people call it, that's not my term, that's the term of many others, is that the basic necessities are not there, to move an organization forward. Police department.
Do you think that you will have any problem working with council members, whoever they may be, as mayor?
Heck no, I worked for Lamerson for almost a year.
Yeah.
I worked for him, not with him.
Right.
There's a difference.
I haven't.
I don't want to go there. I do respect Jim. I don't agree with many things, he says, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah.
But, I do respect him, and I do respect his passion, and I also respect him as a businessman, and I know that he is a very honest businessman, because I worked for him for almost a year.
Do you think he cares about the community?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
And then you also...
Statement is that I love Prescott, and I am just thrilled to have this opportunity, to get on the ballot and to, learn even more, and I believe that we have some wonderful, people that are honestly wanting to bring something to the table, and, even with those that I disagree, we're all doing this for the same reason. We're all in it because we care about this community, and we may come from various perspectives and we may not agree, but I don't really believe there's a bad guy in this. I believe that we're all in this for honest, genuine, reasons.